Tonight I wanted to do a reading about soul origins. Like, what is your specific soul origin? Um, what is like the blueprint or the home energy around your soul? And I'm going to do 3 groups. And I don't have any objects to choose from, just choose with your instincts. If you want to use group 1, group 2, or group 3, I have the timestamps in the description and in a pinned comment in the comment section. To explain a little, if you want to hear what I'm talking, like my explanation of what soul origins are, I just believe that all life forms have some type of soul, anything living, and our soul is an immortal part of us that will always exist and can't be destroyed, something that we can move away from and separate ourselves from, but we're never going to totally be without our soul. You can just cut off yourself from it, which is not good. You don't want to do that, but it happens to people sometimes. Anyway, what I tend to see is like we all originate from one sort of area in time and space. It's sort of like a nursery, and then we disperse from there, and we choose different dimensions and planets and lifetimes to exist. And that goes outside of Earth. It's not just having a human experience on Earth, it's having experiences that are probably unfathomable, to a human mind. So I don't really know how this is going to go. I usually bring up soul origins whenever I give readings to people personally, or it's like a popular question I get. So I'll just have to see how it works out doing it in a group setting. I don't know, let's see. Hey, group 1. So what I'm going to do is just pretend like you're one person and give you a reading. I'm going to connect to you and whoever's watching for group 1, whoever needs to hear the message, and then I'll just tell you what I think you're supposed to be told. So I'm reaching out to every person that is watching group 1 in this moment. And I'd like to tether that energy to the earth to keep us both grounded so I can get clear information. And what I'd like to know is, what is your soul origin? What is the soul origins of this group of people? What messages or stories can you tell me that will reach most of the people in group 1 so that they can hear a message, so that they can have information about where they have originated from? Where in the universe did your soul come from? What is its blueprint? Why are you here? And then just please convey that to me so that I can share it with everyone who's watching. So for this group particularly, like, I'm seeing the godlike energy of Grecian gods. Specifically, I cannot recall his name, but the man who pushed the rock up a mountain just for it to fall back down for eternity, that was the first image I was seeing. So I feel like this group of people are people who've had to repeat a lot of karmic lessons. You've probably lived the most lives out of the 3 groups, or you've lived a lot of lives, but it's almost like middle aged. Like, you're not at the point of enlightenment or like soul retirement. You're at a point where you are probably facing a lot of obstacles and frustrations, and you may have felt like it has been inescapable. It could be something like you were born into a family where no one has had success. Like there's a lineage of people who, I don't think this represents failure, but who maybe left school or have had struggles maintaining income or jobs. Those aren't factors that say that there isn't worth to a person, but those are things that can say that there's something that we're not achieving, something that we would like to achieve that we haven't quite figured out how to like work within those rules. So it feels like this is an energy that's being tamed. And what I see mostly for these souls is like a very fiery, volcanic energy. I have Mars in Aries. Mars is in Aries right now, so that's the energy I tend to think of is Aries, Mars. That's a Grecian Roman god. Venusian energy for sure. So this could be, there are people who have souls from Venusian, like Venusian souls, or Venus, from a Venus origin, or from like a Mars, Aries warrior type energy. It's a group of people where you have a very like fiery, passionate need for expression. I would say if you know anything about, I can't remember what type of astrology, or there was this weird form of astrology I learned once. Human design. It's called human design. I don't totally understand it, but it incorporates a ton of like types of new age beliefs. And there's a group in human design theory called I think generators, and you generate your own power, and it's usually like energy that's in the stomach. So I feel like these people have, yeah, like the solar plexus energy. Typically I tend to see like we have our souls placed somewhere in our body. That's usually what I see, where our soul stays, and that can be kind of where you get your instinct from. It looks like for these people that is like a yellow energy, so you may really rely on gut instincts, or you may have a really sensitive gut. When something happens that's not right for you, you may immediately just get stomach cramps, butterflies, and your intuition looks like it's stored in your stomach. Like that is where clarity comes from. Listening to how your stomach reacts or feeling can be a really good physical insight into your intuition. So yeah, this group has a lot of like red, orange, yellow energy, base chakras. So I do feel like these are souls who have been around for a long time but haven't really like been on earth that many times, or they're struggling with certain earth lessons. The earth lessons I think you're struggling with are conformity, working without reward, monotony, stagnation, because this is energy. These are souls that want to produce, they want to see turnaround. A lot of the origins, or like for certain people, you'll just have to choose like what resonates, because not everyone's gonna have no one has the same soul, but this is like this is more of like an agrarian energy. Like I would think if you've had a few past lives on earth, they've been mostly like like worker lives, where you were born into systems of poverty, like Dust Bowl energy, like Great Depression, Industrial Revolution. Yeah, something like things where you had to like clear out land. I don't know, I'm thinking of a lot of American history now, but the expansion west in North America seems to be like I don't know, even like Mormon settlers. If you have Mormons in your family, maybe you've had a past life as a Mormon, and or that energy is really tied to you still, because that's like this. The energy is like, I'm here to be wild, but I'm being contained. You're a wild soul origin. You're like an animalistic vibe. Not that you're not tamed, but that you have a fiery instinct Like if you're not a fire sign, you may have a fire moon or fire Mars or Venus placement. If you don't have anything like that, there's just a very determined energy within you. Like this could be a Capricorn energy too. But Capricorn is more likely to assimilate. These are people who don't want to assimilate. So your origins seem to come from fiery places. Some of you could have been on, I think, yeah, a lot of this is like energy of like genderless or just one gender expression. Like maybe you were from a soul origin where everyone chose to represent themselves as one main gender, or you identify way more like with the binary, or you identify with no binary. So it's, I don't know, it's like you could be really identified with the power of being masculine, of like going and grabbing and getting, like not masculine in a traditional sense, masculine in how the energy moves. Masculine energy is going out and getting. Feminine energy spiritually is considered like receptive and waiting and allowing things to grow and manifest. And sort of having like a non-binary approach to that would be that those constructs of like creating energy don't apply to you. So yeah, these are people who don't want to play by any set of rules. And I feel like the lesson is finding ways to assimilate so that you don't lose yourself. It's funny because I actually had to write a paper about this in like 10th grade about how to maintain your sense of identity in relation to groups and like social settings. You could have family that's like really proud of heritage and family lines and ancestry, or like even some ideas of like cleanliness or separating. And these are things that like you would be really repulsed by and reject. And so having traditional values pushed on you again later in life is something you will rebel against, but it's something that like you have to learn to incorporate. You have to learn how to, you put your energy into focus, like funnel your energy into things, because you have this very like like magma, like lava pouring in you, like very fiery, self-starting energy. So yeah, I'd say you probably are someone who has always been not necessarily energetic. Like, of course, there could be energetic people, but I would say there's some type of quickness. Like, either you speak quickly, or you have a very fast mind, or you feel like your anxiety is rolled around. I have to get this done. I have to get this done. Like, not having enough time. And I think too, okay, your soul origin is probably from places where lives are much longer. So I do think you have fear of early deaths, probably more so than other soul groups. You don't feel like living, like your time on earth is really long, and it's not in comparison to the other existence you have. I have to say though, I keep seeing the number 2,400. So you could have maybe your soul's 2,400 years old. To me, that's not crazy. Like, I don't know. I see people in readings and they're like, "Oh, I found out I have one past life," and I'm like, doesn't everyone have like a million? Like, I don't know. I know I have tons of them, and in lots of different dimensions and planets and all over the place. And I tend to see at least a handful of lives. But like I've said, I have met someone who I think this is one of their first lives, and it was really cool. It was a cool reading. But anyway, yeah, I'd say that you have like a really fast-paced energy, and you just need to find a way to funnel it and excuse me, keep yourself from burning out. If you've been feeling really stagnant, it could just be that you haven't had a way to funnel your energy, so it's just building up. And like, these are people too who, if you have too much psychic energy and it's building up and you're not doing something, you could have like poltergeist activity, and that's not necessarily a ghost. It could just be your own like over electricity in your aura, like causing things to happen. I have a friend who magnets fall off their fridge, and I think, and we're pretty sure it's them who's doing it. Is, like Carrie, like if you just happen to notice things like that, like if you're in a really bad mood, and things start falling, or I don't know, just maybe pay attention to maybe that if that's not literal telekinesis, then you may have the ability to really impact people around you based on your mood. And maybe you've been able to like rely on bullying tactics in the past, or your aggression, and like anger is a gift. I have a deep ancestral line to anger, and anger is valuable and has lessons for us. But anger is a fire that you can place into a lot of other outlets, and you could either burn down everything, or you can use it to, I don't know, like heat glass and blow glass, or like cook food. There's more you can do with it. So if you're someone who is quick to anger, or like you get really like someone who like shakes their knee when they sit. I used to do that and like shiver a lot for no reason. You just have an overabundance of energy, and I know you don't want to be told what to do, but like at least just going for a walking meditation every day, or yoga or something where you can let out your energy, even just doing like quick bursts of like I don't know, like shouting, jumping, listening, like moshing real quick in your room. It doesn't matter. Like just you need to get it out somehow, because you have a very fiery soul. So I hope that makes sense. I hope it resonated for you. If you want to hang out with me on the internet, we can be friends. I have social media information in the description. And if you want your own reading, I have a link to my store in the description as well. Have a good day. Hey, group 2. I hope you're doing good. So what I'm going to do is just pretend like everyone watching is just one person, and I'm going to reach out to your energy and give a reading. So let's do that. Okay. So I would like to connect to every person who is watching group 2. Whoever is watching group 2, no matter where in time or space they are, I'd like to connect to this person's energy, and I'd like to ground the energy into the earth with my own energy so that we can get a clear message. Group 2, I would like to know, where does your soul originate from? What information can you share as a collective to me that will cover the most messages, that will reach the most people, that will be the most accurate? If you could just let me know or show me, and then I can give the information back to you, or back to you in your body form, I guess. So what I'm seeing, the first like example I'm seeing is a woman, like the Industrial Revolution came up earlier for me. So like this is sort of like a woman, Industrial Revolution times, or like an old factory, or like a really old sewing machine in like the 19th century, I guess. I don't know. And her dress is getting caught, and it's very dangerous, and she seems really frustrated. So I feel like this is a very like, okay, if you don't believe in him, don't get offended. Wait till I say the whole thing. Christ-like energy. Hold on. Christ is like sacrifice, the sacrifice. The story of Christ is that he sacrificed himself so others could live. You are a sacrificial energy. And I feel like this is triggering for some people. Like you may have just felt something in your chest, and I think you probably felt sacrifice in this life. Somebody here got like scapegoat. They were the scapegoat in your family or something. That doesn't mean that's your purpose. You're not meant to be hurt. It's that you have a soul that is very committed to the greater good. So that's like Piscean energy, Aquarian energy. I think this is an angelic soul origin. Again, if you don't believe in angels, I'll have some better explanations in a moment. angelic soul origins are, they're, to me, non-human souls. They're souls that come from an origin in the universe that is very close to our highest source of power, that is very close to the collective clear, like a clear brain of like everyone's energy. Angelic sources tend to be very passionate about doing what's right. They can feel very, very indebted to humanity in a way. Like they really want to protect humans. That's where like the sacrifice message comes in. You've probably put your neck out a lot of times for others and didn't get reciprocated. You probably felt, I think, rather than the anger I felt in the first group, you probably have become self-deprecating, because angelic origin is really related to like an idea of perfectionism and righteousness. And so you could deal with failure or perceived failures in really difficult ways. Now, just hold on to your hats for a moment. Let me explain. If you do not believe in angels, if angelic isn't a good term for you, I, as most everyone knows, like have a Luciferian satanic practice, and in my belief system, angels and demons are the same thing. It's just that their identities have been split and it sort of created like a separation. But I personally can see that as having a demonic soul origin as well. Now, in my beliefs, demons aren't evil. Demons are teachers. Demons are very intelligent. They're extremely powerful, but they tend to be less dedicated to humans while on Earth. So I feel like there's a message of like, you can go either ways, like of becoming so over dedicated to helping others in your cause that you burn out, or burning out because you still want to help people and then you just end up hating people, because demons can hate humans. They've been manipulated by them to build temples and stuff. King Solomon, you dick. You know, like, but demons, in terms of like, if you look at them in like the immortal energy, angelic, one in the same sense, they are the ones who were going and rescuing lost souls. That's how I saw them. Whenever there was a big division, one of the many divisions in spirit history, the demons were the ones who went into the abysses and the dark spaces to find lost souls and redirect them. Demons are the ones who want you to know that you're a god, that you're a soul, that you have the power of God within you. So if you don't like that, don't worry about demons, just stick to angels. If you don't like any of that, I don't totally know. I wouldn't say this is alien. You are a sacrifice spirit. You are a helper spirit. You are a spirit that is dedicated to righteousness and the best for everyone. It's an Aquarian energy. What's the best for everybody? But also, like, how can I stay a little bit uninvolved? It's air energy. So you are learning on Earth how to share your heart and to share your love and to heal the way that, like, you most likely have healing powers just by listening to people. They probably feel a ton better. So you probably get information dumped on you all the time. But by having these experiences, you also need to learn self-preservation. You need to learn when to be a hermit, when to step away. You need to learn not to tie in your value and your worth into the appraisal of others, or like, if we think about a guardian angel, the idea of a guardian angel. They're always there. They're always watching. They're basically waiting hand and foot for the moment you fuck up and jaywalk and a bus comes after you. You know, like, they're just, the idea is that they're just waiting there. But when it's portrayed in movies and cartoons and things, the joke is kind of like, all these like close calls where someone like almost walks into a street but the angel turns them around or something like that. Do you guys remember Touched by an Angel? I watched a lot of Touched by an Angel as a kid. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that, similar to that guardian angel that is going around and helping people, it's not always noticed or appreciated. That may just be part of like what your experience is. So you need to not, like, you could be there like this guiding hand and force, but it could be that people become so used to it that they have stopped acknowledging you. And this may tie back to like the sort of familial child pain I felt in the beginning of you being a sacrifice. um, Maybe you were the caretaker in your family, and this sounds a lot like my own pile. Honestly, I already know I have a angelic soul origin, so yeah, I think that this is the lesson for that group, is that you have come to Earth to learn how to help, to continue to help, but to separate yourself as well. Like, Gemini energy is sort of like that. Like, they're very involved with everybody, but they're floating above, staying away, like not getting touched. And in his shadow aspect, that could be gossipy and bad, but in a positive aspect, that could be just trying to watch over people that you care about, just trying to give advice when needed, and then stepping aside and trusting that people can follow their own paths, trusting that you've said what you need to say. Gemini 2 is like a very communicative sign. All this air energy is very communicative, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. But so you could have the gift of gab, where you're very good at explaining things to people, writing, however you communicate. You could have a really strong skill. You could be someone too who's really not super comfortable speaking, but really good at writing, like written word. Usually angelic soul origins to me have some type of gift of expression, because it's something where your origin is directly tied to like this really euphoric like energy of everybody in the whole universe. Like, it's hard to explain, but having that closeness gives you a sort of clear portal straight to like expression. So singing, writing, communicating, art, there is some type of passion you have for expression, and something that you're really good at. So I think that is part of like a singular path that you could focus on, is what is it that really makes me feel heard or expressed? What is it that is good enough for me, and I don't really need other people's opinion, or like something that I know is good enough and I don't have to base it on other people's value. Because angels don't wait around being appreciated to be appreciated. Angels, like, you know, in the mythology of an angel is that they're messengers from God. They have a much more important, like, much more important, like, message or destiny to carry out. They're sent from God. And if you don't believe in God, they're sent from the source of information, the source of light, the source that we all come from. And so you have a mission, and that includes helping people along the way, probably tons and tons of people. So don't get too caught up on, you know, each person. You probably have impacted them, and you just may never get to hear about it, because the angels don't need that kind of praise. Like, you just need to go forward, and you will find your place. You will find where you are received well. You will find where you do get praise and recognition. But along the way, if someone isn't appreciating you, just step away. Don't get so tied in making people see things your way, or seeing that you are good. Like, you know you're good, you know you're valuable. And maybe that's a message if you've had some confusion with your soul origin, or you've had some trauma from childhood and you've been given the message that you are not good, that you are evil, you were born evil. That's a message that you can really start to change, because it's a complete lie for this group of people. You were born, your soul was born out of compassion, out of a desire to help and guide and heal, and that's incredible and beautiful. So whoever told you, or whatever messages have gotten to you that say that you aren't worthy and that you have something deeply wicked within you that can't change, that's not the truth. The truth is that you really fucking care about people, and you are meant to just be a light to others and to be a light to yourself. I hope that makes sense. I hope it resonates for you. If you want to be friends, I have social media information in the description, and if you want a reading, I have information in the description as well. Have a good night. Hey, group 3. I hope you're doing good. Sorry, I had to find my rock that I was holding. Holding kyanite. You see? Anyway, so what I'm going to do is pretend like every person watching this is just one person, and I'm going to read for you about what your soul origin is. So let's go ahead and do it. I am reaching out to every person who's watching group 3. Every soul, every person, no matter where in time or space they are. I'd like to connect to you, and I would like to ask these souls to collectively decide, what information do I need to hear? What do I need to tell your people? What message needs to be conveyed back to them? I want to know about soul origin, about where these people come from, what their struggles are, what their lessons are on Earth. There's a little bit of like a blocking energy. You're sort of, the people in this group are sort of questioning or like not, okay, not to drag you, but I don't think you're super on par with what your origin is right now. Like, you probably don't believe in your origin, or you are denying it somehow. Hold on. Yeah, so, okay, I have 2 messages, I guess. There is a message of like holding things down. There's some type of energy that is like not super interested in like being expressed. And I think it's because, I'll say like this is like a dominant, like patriarch energy, a dominant male energy, because the card I'm seeing is the 4 of Pentacles, which is like kind of gruff looking guy, holding 4 Pentacles, not moving. It can really have to do with like, I don't know, it visually to me it can say a lot about someone who prevents you from doing what you want to do, or someone who like doesn't believe in possibilities. And it's interesting because the energy under that was like really youthful energy. So I'm gonna look at this some more. Okay, I think I understand. So it's a confusing story. You guys are either, maybe there's two types of people in this group. The main message is that these are people who have spent a lot of time fighting, and you come from a soul origin where your home planet was like destroyed. You come from origins of war. Now in group 1, they had really fiery energy of expression and like determination. This is like, you guys feel like you've been in a lot of battles. Like, there's a really militant energy of trying to hold something together and then having it really challenged. And the energy, excuse me, that was being challenged was like a youthful energy. Now, you like baby energy, baby. Now, first of all, listen. That doesn't mean that you have a young soul. These people don't seem to have young souls to me. Maybe these are people who haven't been on Earth a ton of times, but you certainly existed a bunch before this. So baby and youth energy, often in the spirit world, can represent a type of, it's something that I learned about in terms of like spirit guides, but when you see childlike energy, sometimes it's energy that's so old that it is reverting back to youth. So if you think about don't know how to explain it. It's like a world that's existed for so long that eventually everything's destroyed, and then it just starts to like regrow itself over and become born again. Essentially, you're going back to dispersing back into the universe. And so these are souls that have been around a really, really long time. But I feel like there's a conflict message here. It's like, yeah, you guys have like denied your origin in some way, or you've been made to fight against who you are for a really long time that you maybe don't feel super clear. And there's this message that's trying to get back to you. It's like you were used to fight for other people a lot. Like, if this happened in your current life, then it would be something like with divorced parents, where you were like a bargaining chip, or you were a deciding factor in a lot of things and you took on a lot of blame. The image is a lot of like someone who was fighting like very wholeheartedly, but for countries and causes that they were just born into, not that they necessarily believed in. It was like a birth destiny. So I think this is part of the message, is like, you, I think, did originate in a place where you were, yeah, you may have had a really hard soul origin where you were placed in a planet where, or like a star system or something where there was war going on, because it really seems like your origin got destroyed. And there's stories about certain planetary systems and stuff in New Age where they say this happened and this happened. I don't know what those are or understand them. They usually end up talking about lizard people and stuff, I think. But, you know, based on my beliefs, I'm sure there has been another planet somewhere with life and there has been war. But it looks like early on in your origin, you got separated from source or from light or from others, like from a sense of community, and you were forced into like a fighting position. And you had a lot of your like natural instincts cut off. And if this sounds similar to your current life, then I would say like at a young age, people were just telling you not to express yourself a certain way, that your instincts were wrong. It could have had to do with like preferences that you had about your body, your gender, about your sexual expression, and those things being denied. It could have had to do with maybe you always believed in magic and you grew up in a belief that totally demonized that and thought you were going to hell. There's something where your struggles on Earth are very much highlighting like your struggles as a soul. So I almost feel like you guys originated or immediately put into war or something. And then, because this is almost like a seraphim, I don't feel like this is like angel origins or anything, but this is like, it feels like another god or someone was trying to like control like the energy you were using. And the seraphim energy to me is like very militant. It's like, these are fighters. These are not even necessarily warriors, but these are like chariots. Like, these are not the chariot angel, but like war machines, like emotionless cancer, like a crab shutting off and hiding the emotions within. So I feel like a lot of people in this group have had to deal with that repeatedly, and this life is probably very tumultuous for you in a lot of ways. It's very like Scorpio Pluto energy of a massive transformation of sort of like fire water, so like electricity. Like, this is a very like unusual expression. You may feel like I don't know, I could say you feel like you don't fit in. Everyone feels that way, but yeah, like maybe you had a harder time engaging with emotions, like possibly like autism, or like maybe you were born under a retrograde, so there's something you're really self-conscious about. Like, I was born under Mercury retrograde, so I'm really self-conscious about how I learn, and I learned very differently than other people. I learned things differently, and it made me feel uncomfortable in school. If you had a learning disability or something, these all could be things that seemed like these insurmountable challenges, things that you had to fight against. So there's a lot of like fight energy. But when we get back to the baby message that I was seeing, it looks like this change or this break that you're trying to go through is disengaging from being this drone, this fighter, someone who's been put into fighting other people's battles, into connecting back to like somewhere further back, somewhere where you really originate from, that's like soft and tender and is more of like the womb that we originate from, rather than this life that you had on this planet that was like very controlled and like violent and difficult. And this life is going to be about you learning to step out of those very strict boundaries, probably finding ways though that you can still have them, that you feel comfortable or safe. Like, having boundaries is an incredible gift. A lot of people can't handle boundaries, so I wouldn't say throw them all away. You aren't meant to be like group one, where it's just like uncontrolled energy. There's a power behind having focus, direct, sometimes even slow moving energy. Is like a surgical precision of using time and waiting and being very clear. This is like a very like swords energy of the swords, where they're very like cutting, clear, direct, not worrying about emotion. So first of all, if people have tried to make you feel bad about anything about you that's different or maybe not normal or like less emotional or something, they're totally wrong and you're totally right. It's okay for you to feel or think or express your emotions differently. You have been someone that I can see who has been really dedicated and cares about like order and like fairness. It's very justice energy, the justice tarot card. So I think what's going to happen is that the remainder of your life on earth, and then probably coming up in your next lives, because I see you most likely like reincarnating and living for a longer, like your soul is gonna go on for a lot longer. You seem like the youngest soul group, I think. Or this could be like you haven't been on earth that many times, and because I see mostly like you being on this other planet and battling. So the end of your life here and the lives following are going to be a lot more focused on child energy, childlike joy. Now, you don't have to have kids. You don't have to dedicate your life to kids or anything like that. If you really have wanted to do that and you never felt like you could, maybe it's the message that you are meant to go toward that energy of childlike expression. I don't really see it as like maternal or parent energy. You need to go into being a child yourself. Some people reverse age in life, like Capricorns tend to do it. I'm a Capricorn, and your life tends to get easier as you age, and that has been my experience. So it looks like a lot of the difficulties and the things that have like held you back and have been like drudgery are things that you will have a pretty big departure from. And it could be something that seems difficult at the time. It's going to be hard, even though it's going to be good, because you're getting rid of like patterns and things. There could just something major could happen and you just aren't able to follow the rules that you've always followed, and you have to kind of make up your own rules and rely on yourself. That it will release like this childlike joy that you are meant to express here on earth. I think that hopefully you aren't in a place where you have been forced to like enlist, or if you didn't want to, I hope you haven't had to fight for any military reasons on earth. If you have, I would say if you would like to step away from that career, go ahead. And even if you don't want to, you just might end up not being in that career anymore for some reason. It just feels like a lot of the major structures you've had have ended up being really oppressing or controlling, and those are going to shift in a big way. And you may end up using the last years of your life doing something totally different than you had ever planned, because there's like a rebirth you'll have later in life. This thing that you've resisted, this like, it's almost like you've held on to this like old man energy, this like stern father, when you're just a baby. Like, you're just like a cute baby inside. It's like being an old man, you're a baby. Like, and that is going to come out later in life. I could see you too, like this could be a group of people that lives to be really old. Like, and I can see this group of people reincarnating many more times, either on Earth or in other places, or just continuing to exist for a long, long time. So I don't really know what else to say. I hope that made sense for you. It was an interesting message. I've never had a message like that before. So, okay. If you want to be friends, I have my Instagram and stuff is in the description. And if you want a reading, I have the information in the description too. And I hope you have a good day. And don't work too hard. Okay.